Quickly overcome imposter syndrome.
Grow up leadership.
Imposter syndrome is nonsense. I realize it's not fair for me to simply say imposter syndrome is nonsense and to stop feeling like an imposter because the topic is obviously complex. But imposter syndrome is nonsense. Stop feeling like an imposter. Be kind to yourself. Be honest that you don't know this thing well enough to feel like an expert right now, but you're willing to gain the knowledge and experience needed. There's so much discussion around imposter syndrome, but I sincerely think people are focused on a symptom instead of the problem and solution. I totally get the concern and feeling of imposter syndrome, but to be honest, it's absurd. Everyone feels this in literally everything they do. No one knows how to do anything at the beginning. Whatever you feel like an imposter about, that's only because it's new to you. You simply need to build your knowledge and experience. That's what makes an expert. Every person who is great at something and appears as an expert at some point was not. We were all babies at one time. No one is born with whatever ability you feel like an imposter about. The problem only persists if we choose not to learn, gain knowledge, and practice. When I first started skateboarding at age 11 or 12, I was super concerned with looking like a poser. The only way to get past that was to learn and practice. The harder I practiced, the faster I developed, and the less I was concerned about being a poser or an imposter. The community was less concerned about how talented I was in comparison to how hard I tried to progress. When my son started skating, he experienced the same fears of being a poser and the need to practice and improve to be accepted. That's part of the game with anything. If you are feeling like an imposter with whatever it may be, simply be honest with yourself and others. It's okay to say, I don't know. This is particularly true in leadership and management. It's okay to say, I don't know. We'll figure it out together, and ask others for their insights and suggestions. When you are honest with yourself and others, you can start to identify what specifically is causing the feeling of imposter syndrome, and then figure out how to fill that gap through learning and practice. An area I see a great deal of discussion around imposter syndrome is with management and leadership. And look, I can relate. I clearly recall being promoted and feeling the fear of not knowing what the hell I was doing, being scared of all this newness, having to hold staff accountable, lead a team to success, routinely present and engage with peers and senior leaders. Fortunately, my employer provided great leadership training and ongoing development to help me grow as a leader. I did have to slowly learn how to manage and, most important, practice. Not only in performance phase, but I would role play scenarios with peers and my boss, and I never stopped learning and developing. Research shows there are clear benefits in not thinking you know everything like you already know all the answers. Adam Grant's book, Think Again, extensively highlights rethinking, asking questions, and consulting others. This ultimately leads to collaboration, innovation, inclusion, and trust. If you were hired or promoted into a role, a position, a job that you are now feeling like an imposter, be honest with yourself, and most important, be kind to yourself. The beauty is, you as a human have an amazing capacity for learning, and you have access to find people across the globe with relative ease who are experts along with vast amounts of information to help you develop and grow to no longer feel like an imposter. If you are in any form of entry to mid-level management or leadership role and feeling in any way like an imposter, please reach out to me for a free consult to discuss leadership training services that will aid you in your development at www.gro-leaders-up.com. Remember, be kind to yourself.